Hey guys, welcome. It's your girl Black Girl Minimalism. I'm doing a read for Friday, September 19th. We're using the Neo Tarot Guidebook deck, and I'm going to do a spread of 12. Me and babe painted the room, and we went out for errands today. So, kind of a busy Friday, and we're just going to chill after this. I think we're due for some relaxation. We had Din Tai Fung for lunch. So the card that came up is Four of Pentacles. Has to do with possessiveness, hoarding, stinginess, stability, savings, materialism, wealth, and frugality. So maybe a call to conserve your money because it has like bags around you, but to be able to ask you to take heed on how you're looking at it, maybe. Because it's like possessiveness, insecurity, hoarding, stinginess, stability. So maybe you have enough to share. So make sure that you're pouring it out there. The next card that came up is Eight of Cups, walking away, letting go, searching for truth, leaving behind something. So you're leaving something in the past, and we're going into a new moon energy. So that's what's going to be coming up for next. And then I'm going to read a card spread of 12, and then we'll continue to see what comes up for us. Okay. So we have the World card. So the World card has to do with completion, achievement, fulfillment, sense of belonging, wholeness, and harmony. So you come into a full sense of harmony because it has the cross string on the top and the bottom. So you're tying in everything around you, and I see this as a level of protection around you as well. So the next thing that came up is the Ace of Wands. This has to do with inspiration, a creative spark. Creative spark. I thought it said creativity, but it's creative spark. Enthusiasm, energy. You're holding the wand to something, and new passion. The next thing that came up has to do with disputes, aggression, bullying, intimidation, conflict, hostility, or stress. So maybe it's a call to maybe favorable feelings that may come up. Maybe having to coincide with other personalities that might be challenging. So just going to continue on. So the next thing that came out is the Page of Swords. This has to do with curious, witty, chatty, communicative, mentally agile, vigilant, and alert. So maybe a lot of things are being spoken about at this time. So the next thing that came up is happiness. This comes to the Ten of Cups. This has to do with homecomings, fulfillment, emotional stability, security, domestic harmony. So you're coming into a placement of harmony. And it seems as though like two different energies are happening. And being that we're coming into a new moon, it's a shift. So you could have been dealing with some of these things like the questioning, things being talked about and all this, but then moving forward you're coming into a place of domestic harmony, and then also creative new spark, which has to do with the Ace of Wands. The next thing to come up is the King of Wands. This has to do with leadership, vision, taking control, daring decisions, boldness, and optimism. Again, the plane is above her in this point. We have the Ace of Swords. This has to do with clarity, breakthrough, new ideas, concentration, vision, force, focus, and truth. So you're coming to a placement of truth, and it has the red or pink, red roses. I would see it as over the mountaintop. So you're heating a hurdle or moving past a hurdle. I see that. So the Queen of Swords has to do with honest, independent, principled, fair, providing constructive criticism, objective, and perceptive. So I see this as a justice card. It's plainly put in the deck, and her protective guidance is next to her. Kind of getting ready for the next step is leaning forward. So maybe be talking to the energy that's coming up. This has to do with another protective card. This says protectiveness, standing up for yourself, defending yourself, protecting territory. So it's a call to be aware of things that you have to kind of focus on right now. It's a call to keep your eyes open and just be aware, right? So the next thing that come up, and we'll close out here, has to do with the Two of Wands. This has to do with being in tropical atmospheres. I see this as leaving comfort, taking risks. You're moving to a placement of wisdom, because I see her as a wise elder woman, a woman that has lived through life and has a lot of wisdom to share. The next thing that comes forward is the Knight of Wands, which has to do with being direct, intellectual, daring, focused, perfectionist, ambitious. So maybe you're moving outside of like taking on this perfectionist scope of things. And the next thing that come up is strength. This has to do with courage, brave, confidence, compassion, self-confidence, and inner power. So perfectionists sometimes can demonstrate a moment of feeling insecurity, but this comes up, the strength card, because with the we talked about gaining clarity. With this, it shows that you're moving away of like that feeling to come to a breakthrough of feeling inner power, self-confidence. And then the Justice card came up. Okay, we talked about that other card being a representation of the Justice card, but this has to do with karma, accountability. So maybe something is being brought forward to take accountability on, integrity, cause and effect. So something has a cause and effect coming forward. And then the next thing that come up is the Seven of Wands, lies and trickery, sneaking, cunning. Somebody trying to be sneaky. And then the next thing to come up is negative, breakpoint, despair, nightmares, and isolation. All right, so it's a lot of energy that seems a bit like you're breaking through it. You're trying to break free of it. And I'll see what's standing up. I'm going to shuffle the cards and see what's standing up if nothing else comes out. So it's a lot that you're dealing with at this point. So maybe taking some time to like be clear about how you want to spend your time so that you can gain some clarity. So the next things that come up, Eight of Wands. This is restricted, victimized, paralyzed, right? But then behind it, you have a harvest, rewards, results, growth, progress, perseverance, patience, and planning. So the Seven of Pentacles, and this has to do with your finances. So maybe you felt a place of restriction, but you're moving forward of gaining placement in your finances. And then I'll shuffle to see what comes up next. All right, so we have the Star card. That has to do with hope, inspiration, positivity, faith, renewal, healing, and rejuvenation. And then the Two of Pentacles, balance and resources, still Pentacles, resourcefulness, flexibility, stretching resources. So you're utilizing a way in which you're stretching your resources for the betterment of what is needed. And then the Emperor is facing up. This has to do with structure, protective nature. This is the third time that protection came up. Practicality, focus, and discipline. So you need all of these elements to be able to gain stability. All right, so I hope that you guys receive this message, and I'll see you next time. I love you so much. Bye.